Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? Please say hi in the comment section and let me know where you are joining me from. Hi, everyone. My name is Flora Daisy. I am a digital accessibility expert and founder at Linoratic. Well, Linoratic is an incredible company with the value and mission to help tech leaders and tech professionals create more inclusive and accessible experience for all clients, for all users in digital products. So we are talking about websites, application, and digital document. All right. So if you're joining me at any point in time, just say hi in the comment section. Don't feel shy and don't let me feel like I'm alone in this platform. All right, let me describe myself. I am a black woman with long braids, wearing a black blouser today, I think. And I just love to smile. Today is a beautiful day. Oh my goodness, finally, we get some sunshine. We get the time to just breathe outside. It's just the best of the best. How are everything on your hand? Are you having a beautiful day? I hope so. Let me see. Someone has commented. And as always, please, please, please don't feel shy. This show is called Diverse Perspective because I want to hear from you. I want you to engage with me. Okay. So I see, oh, hi, James. James, say hello. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you, James. Again, if you have any question at any point in time as I'm sharing with you, please feel free to, drop your question in the comment section. And if you want, there is something that resonates with you or you like what you're hearing, you know what? Just give me a reaction, a thumbs up, a love. It doesn't matter. I will take everything. All right, let's talk about today's topic, which is all about, you know, understanding how to, think about accessibility in terms of guidelines, think about accessibility in terms of budget, and thinking about accessibility in terms of education. I think that at this point in time, it's going to be just for me to do a repetition when I said inclusion and accessibility in digital product is really, really important. The reason why this is important is because it allows businesses to reach out to a larger market. And also, it does provide the ability to customers who have a visible or invisible disability to purchase goods on digital product or to engage with digital product to request a service, right? Or maybe to just browse informations that are provided on the digital product. When digital products are not accessible, it actually can limit some of your users, consumers, clients to have, you know, the ability to engage or to purchase or to request a service with those digital products. I hope that makes sense. Now, let's talk about the guidelines. So, really, depending on the country where your business is or your company business is, there are usually a set of guidelines or policies around the need for inclusion and accessibility for all. All right, so think about maybe where you are located and you can Google and see exactly what standards can apply. And some company will go for with specific standards or they will add something more. But you might be able to find that easily out there. Most of the time in many countries, what I have noticed is that the WCAG, the Web Content Guideline, accessibility guideline, is actually provided and followed by many companies globally. As I said, I've seen it used in the United States, I've seen it used in Canada, in Europe. They even have a French version for people who speak French. I think that they have a couple of versions in different languages as well, but I might have to check that. If you know about it, just let me know in the comment section. But I think I have to check that for sure. I think I saw something. Was it Spanish or another language? Huh, you know what? This is the part that fascinates me when it comes to accessibility because so many companies around the world are using it. I wouldn't be surprised that there is probably the same version in a different language other than French and English. I'm pretty sure. Maybe Spanish, maybe Chinese, or maybe more. But let me know if you know about it. I'm curious, but I'm probably going to check that later on after this show. So, yes, WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guideline, it's a standard that most companies are following. Before we used to have the 2.0 version. Now most companies are embracing the 2.1. But last year, I believe in November, could be, yes, in November, the 2.2 just came out. And so here is where most business, tech professional, like most tech professionals and leaders kind of get confused about the guidelines, is the fact that there are different versions and also there are different level to follow. You know what? I'm going to clarify that for you now. So in terms of version, 2.0 was there before. It did provide great guidelines and criteria to follow, and that did help a lot of people who wanted, for example, their website to be inclusive and accessible to everyone. Moving forward, I think that the WCAG noticed that more and more people are navigating on their website to make transactions, to request information, and so much more. And because of that, the 2.1, the version 2.1 came with accommodation and recommendation for, to take in consideration really people who are also browsing on the phone, on mobile. So you will see a few criteria that are changing or requested or required. So you may want to watch for that. Okay, but there were not too many. I think probably 15 guidelines, criteria were added. Um, uh, Around that number, it could be less, it could be a little bit more, but usually it's not a bunch, it's just a little bit of guidelines just for consideration. And this is really, really important. And this is really, really, you know, great. The reason why I say it's great that the WCAG is always changing is because we live in a world, and that is always changing, as a matter of fact, right? um, Before we didn't even have the internet. Now we have internet, and now we have AI, and I don't even know what will be the next thing that will come up soon. But because there is always a change in technology in the world, the WCAG is also trying to change as well, so that it will support all businesses who need to create inclusive and accessible experiences for everyone. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think about the WCAG changing from one version to another version. And don't feel shy, just share your thought in a comment. I promise you I can read it, okay? So definitely in my plate, think that the change are really good, because if we are sticking with maybe the 2.0 and it doesn't change, it's going to be obsolete at some point in time. It wouldn't make sense. I know some people say that education is also obsolete at this point in time, but that's a topic for something else. That's a discussion for probably another topic. Because yeah, people have been saying that education has not really changed in terms of the structure, in terms of how whatever. But this is a different topic. The talk. I'm not gonna get into that today. But let's go back to the WCAG. So as I said, there is a 2.0 that was before. 2.1 is what we are currently embracing. At least most businesses are embracing. Very soon they will start embracing as well the 2.2. Okay, and with the 2.2, it has more consideration for people who have invisible disability, like people who have cognitive disability. So you can see that the shift is really to make sure that businesses can attract everyone. businesses can serve everyone. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to just simplify the explanation and hoping that you understand that part. When we talk about level in the WCAG, there are three main levels. Level one is A. Level two, the second level is double A. The third level is triple A. All right. And so level one usually will give you a set of guidelines that will work for everyone. Level two will go a little bit deeper to give you guidelines that can attract even more people because there are more consideration to make it better. This is the level where every business are leveraging. This is the level that businesses globally are leveraging. They are all working with level two. When you meet level two, you are actually also meeting level A. And if you want to be a bit more fancy, you want to make it even super perfect for inclusion and accessible experiences, you can go for level three, but it's not required. Most companies, as I said, are embracing level double A, and that should be sufficient. All right, I hope that makes sense in for this particular one. So guidelines are there for people to leverage. And if you feel confused about any guideline, feel free to reach out to me. Ask me a question. I'm always open to provide a little bit more clarity around that. Okay? All right. I don't see much talk today. What's going on? Be talkative. Talk. Share with me and let me know what you think. Okay? I love whenever I speak with people and they ask question or they made a comment. I know some of you are already in the field of accessibility. Can you please let me know who is in the field of accessibility or who has been working toward accessibility initiative? If you can just put a yes in the comment, that would be fantastic. And if you have not and this is new to you, just put no. Again, we're not here to judge. Trust me, we are not. I started somewhere myself where I didn't know much about accessibility. And once I was introduced to accessibility, I knew that this was a field that I wanted to embrace because I knew that exclusion never felt right. Can you imagine going with your family to a restaurant or you want to travel with your family and someone just put you aside and say, yes, you have to wait here because so and so only your family members can go through, and you are left there for 30 minutes or 1 hour. Yes, that kind of situation often happen to people with a disability. They are always excluded from some experiences. They want to buy something online, they cannot. Or they want to request a service, they are unable to do that. Or they want to go to places and sometimes they are always feeling excluded because something happened. And that's not ideal. When we want to serve customers, when we want to serve users, we want to make sure that the experience is seamless so that they can come again and again. That's good for business. At least that's what I think. Business are meant to create solutions that help, not solutions that are excluding consumers, customers, and users. All right, so let's talk now about budgeting when it comes to accessibility. I think that sometimes people are downplaying the budget needed for accessibility. They feel like, oh no, we are just going to create the solution and we'll figure out later on if it needs accessibility consideration. Uh-uh. If this is what you do as a leader, as a tech professional, thinking that accessibility is good to check toward the end, oh my goodness, let go of that thought, okay? Accessibility consideration should be done at the very beginning of the project, all right? At the very beginning of the project. And this will help save more money in the long run because anything that is retrofitted usually will cost more. But the budget really that you have to invest for accessibility depends on your organization size and also the team that you have, the project scope, and so much more. Okay, it really depends. There are so many variables, but here is a little bit of ideas that you can start thinking of if you have to embrace budgeting for accessibility. All right. Number one is really to know your company size. Okay. Is it like a big company, a large corporation, a big corporation? Is it a medium company? Is it a small company? Maybe you have only maybe yourself and just a few people. So based on that sizing, you will know how you can approach a few solutions out there and budget for accessibility. Small companies will probably need maybe to outsource someone to help them with accessibility. Although I've noticed that small companies sometimes think that the people that are creating their websites are already good with accessibility. I'm going to tell you one thing. Not always. So you need to be careful with that. I've seen a lot of vendors checking the box for, yes, we create solutions that are accessible, but that's not always true. Okay. If you need a validation for accessibility just to validate and vet out a vendor, always make sure to speak with a accessibility expert or professional to just give it a pass, okay, a quick pass, and give you an ETA, a status, something that you can feel more comfortable with moving forward or not moving forward with the vendor. Okay, I think this is really key, and this is really where your budget will go far, because if you select a vendor that is providing solutions that are accessible, this is a win-win for the company, because you do not have to invest as much to retrofit or to fix problem. Okay, so make sure that the vendors that you are selecting, sorry, are creating solutions that are accessible. And this will also work for large corporations where they have cut product. Okay, so many large corporations are outsourcing solutions as well. So make sure that in your procurement document you have good questions that will really solidify and allow you to know that this vendor, this provider, this supplier really is compliant with accessibility. If you have any question around that, let me know. I can probably help you in crafting something if you need a feedback. Okay. So the other thing that you need to do in terms of budgeting is regarding your team. Are your team having the right skills to meet accessibility compliance? If they are not, then you will need to invest a little bit in education. And I'm going to talk about education very soon. So if the team doesn't have enough information, definitely think about different courses that are provided out there and try to help by budgeting this into your planning. Okay, this will definitely help a team create inclusive and accessible products for your company, for your organization. I believe that usually when you take this approach, it does really save, and it saves a lot in terms of how the result of this solution will be. A team that has a better understanding and skills around accessibility will also reduce the time it takes to create any solution, because there won't be too much back and forth with the QA team and things like that. So this is going to really, really save time for any projects. Gosh, I have seen the result of that. I've seen teams appreciating the fact that they were provided with good, valuable information in terms of training and education. And this is really good, because as this team member move from one place to another place, they are always able to again create more and better solutions that are inclusive and accessible. So really budget in terms of providers, suppliers, budget in terms of the education of your team, and also budget for the audit. which I think is really important. Some people will use automated audit added with human, manual testing, which is perfect. Again, it will depend on your company size. If your company is not that big, just hire someone to do the audit manually. They will use a couple of tools and make sure to provide you with a report. They will work hand to hand with your team to make sure that things are fixed properly. If your company is on the larger scale, you might want to really budget for an enterprise solution, but also always bring on board some expert to do manual review so that anything that is left out can be caught and fixed quickly. The other budget that most of the time companies are not thinking about is budgeting to bring someone with a lived experience. I am referring to someone with a disability. Oftentimes, this is not done, but I will encourage you, if you're very serious about accessibility and inclusive experience, make sure to have a budget to invite people with disability to take a run with your solution and provide you with valuable feedback. There are so many, I think there are few companies out there that do provide this service. I think Fable must be one of them, but you can check around and see what providers or what company can help you get some feedback from different people with a disability. You can also connect with community of people with disability and see how you can work a deal and get them to support your initiatives and so much more. All right, those are the fourth area where I think that is really important to budget for accessibility. Of course, let's not forget about policies and standards that you have to create within the organization so that everything goes smoothly. Accessibility is a journey. You don't have to make things perfect in the first run, but make sure that every time you do something, you learn something and you improve. This is the name of the game. This is an infinite game. And I don't know if you know what is an infinite game. It's a game that has no set rules. Rules are always changing, right? And in accessibility, rules are always changing. We move from 2.0 version to 2.2 now. So that means that you have to keep up. So make sure that you create a flow that will work efficiently for your company. Again, if you have any question, just let me know. The last part, which is really, really important, and that is the part that excites me the most, is the educational part. Okay, yes, you all know by now we need to learn about accessibility in order to create more inclusive and accessible digital product. But how do you go about it? How do you educate yourself around accessibility? I've seen a few people when I'm talking to tech professionals or tech leaders, they will say, oh, I grabbed the course on LinkedIn. Oh, I grabbed the course online searching for Google. Oh, I was in this course for, web development. And then the teacher or the author just mentioned something around accessibility. So now I know that images need alternative text. And oh, I did this. So this is all good. But if you want to be very efficient and educate yourself so that you know what needs to be known, make sure that you are intentional. That means really look for people, for experts that have been in the game of accessibility for a while. Invite them to come and support your team. Having all the documentation out there, it's fantastic, but sometimes it is time consuming to go through all the documents without having proper example. And also, most tech professionals have deadlines. So it is really hard for them to know exactly what to do because they would spend more time researching and then trying to implement something. And then QA accessibility will say, no, that's not passing. Actually, you created more bugs. And they're like, oh, no. So make sure to get what I would call an accessibility coach. This is a game changer. Have someone to come and coach your team, not just train them, not just giving them documents to read. Get someone who cares enough and who will help your team care as much. When I speak with leaders, when I speak with leaders, when I speak with tech professionals, many people see people with disabilities as just numbers, as people with a medical condition. Some of them cannot relate to these people just because they are not surrounded by people with disabilities. We need to change the narrative. There is so much power in diversity, caring for others, feeling like you are on a mission, and feeling like you want to accomplish something right. And a coach can do that with your team. Sometimes it's not a matter of skills, techniques, and so much more. It's a matter of a human to human understanding. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to be very short here because my time is it's almost over for this specific session, but it is a game changer. Let me tell you an example, okay? And I see Ariel just share a comment. Ariel, I'm getting to you just now. Give me just 1 minute, I'm getting there. Again, if you have any comment, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Trust me, I can see it live, okay? Let's imagine, we have many leaders who feel like they are not really connecting the dot, but they know that it's important. Let's imagine that you have a loved one. Let's say your son or your grandson, okay, went to visit a friend, and then you hear that there is a fire in the building or at the friend place, and your son is trapped there. What will you do? I bet that in this specific instance, you will think about all solutions that can help your son stay alive. And I'm not wishing that on anybody. I am just bringing an illustration that calls your heart in action. You will start calling the police. You will even drive there to know what's going on. You will think about every solution to make sure that your son and the people in this house are safe and sound. When we talk about accessibility, this is what a coach brings on board. They allow people to connect the dot. They allow people to feel like this is a mission I can do. As a tech developers, as a tech leaders, you have so much power to transform somebody's life. And I want you to own that power and feel like this needs to be done and it needs to be done the right way. So let me read Ariel comment. I see Ariel said maybe some high ranking executives still believe that throwing money at lawyers can fix accessibility issues with their product. Oh, this is a good point, Ariel. Yeah, some leaders think that sending money to the lawyers will save the problem, but actually, you're just throwing money through the window. If you make your solution inclusive and accessible, not only you cut off this money you have to send to any lawyer, right? Because there's no risk in your company. Plus, your brand is going to be elevated and known as an inclusive and accessible brand. Plus, you're going to attract more clients toward you. Trust me, the community of people with disability talk to each others. So free advertisement, because once people know that your brand, your company, your organization is exclusive and accessible, they just want to do business with you. They would just say, oh, you don't need to worry about another company. This company is really good and inclusive. I was able to do that. And people with disability have friends and family. Trust me, this is the best business decision. Don't worry about throwing money to the lawyer. This is gonna be a fail. It's gonna be a win maybe for a short time, but it's gonna be a fail for a long run. Okay, I hope this makes sense. And if you like this session, please again thumbs up, and I will see you next Friday. I was so happy to have you, and happy weekend, everyone. Bye bye.